D23's ended. Of course, there's a slew of park announcements. Which of these are awesome, which may not be so much, and which are actually going to happen. So D23 at its experiences, why don't they just call it parks anymore? It had a whole slew of announcements like we expected. And it's always interesting listening to these announcements because they're full of hype, they're full of excitement, and they're also full of pie in the sky. Let's dream. When I was there a couple years ago, there were several big announcements they made that honestly have been forgotten about already. And there are some that they have since actually done something with and expanded upon. Josh D'Amaro, president of Disney Experiences, aka Disney Parks, did make a little note on this one. To quote him, "At Disney Experiences, Imagineers dream, create, design, and build these stories into real places. And we have Imagineers in place right now all around the world because everything we're going to share with you is in active development." In other words, not as much pie in the sky. "Plans are drawn, dirt is moving. I just want to be clear about this. We are doing everything you're going to hear tonight." That's a change from a couple years ago when they told us explicitly that some of those things were just dreams. So according to Josh, this is all actually happening and all under construction, and much of it actually has dates. If it's not under construction, it is in process of getting to that stage. That's a bigger deal. It means that this stuff is legit. It's not just dreams. And there's some very interesting things in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go park by park. I'm going to start at Disneyland, I'm going to hit International, and then I'm going to finish with where I know best, and that's Walt Disney World. So let's jump on board, starting at the West Coast. Disneyland, they announced that Tiana's Bayou Adventure is finally opening November 15th of this year. It's already open in Walt Disney World. It's basically the same ride. It's the retheme of Splash Mountain. But what they're also doing is they are rebranding Critter Country to Bayou Country to help make the ride fit in a little bit better. Of course, Country Bears is already gone. I'm not quite sure how Winnie the Pooh fits into Bayou Country, but okay, trying to make it work and trying to get the theming in there. So that's nice to know that it's coming. They also announced that there is a brand new Walt Disney animatronic coming, along with a new presentation called Walt Disney: A Magical Life. This is going to happen at the Opera House where they currently have Lincoln. For a time at least, they're going to have Walt doing this Walt Disney: A Magical Life, and then they're planning to alternate it and go back and forth. 2025 sometime, they put in Walt Disney and then they begin to rotate it. And it's going to be there for the 70th anniversary celebration of Disneyland, which is coming up. Personally, I think this is kind of cool. I think it keeps with the flavor of the Opera House. It keeps with the idea of the great moments with Lincoln, and it kind of expands upon that. And what better way to share Walt Disney's vision than have Walt himself do it? I'm actually kind of excited about this. This is really neat. I do hope to get to see it at some point. Cool idea, neat way to plus the Opera House, keep the tradition, but also add something new to it. That's really about all that was announced for Disneyland. California Adventure, however, had a number of things. One, an expansion of Avengers Campus. So they've got a few different things happening here as they expand it out. I'm not quite sure how they're all going to fit it in. There's going to be an expansion of land and a couple other things going. So they've got two new attractions that are coming to Avengers. One is the Infinity Defense, where you're going to take on Thanos, and you're going to visit Asgard, you're going to visit Wakanda, you're going to visit New York, and you're going to basically fight him or be part of the Avengers as they fight him as you go to all these different places. Going to be very interesting to see how this works out. I'm guessing it's kind of a motion simulator ride based on the graphics they give. They don't give a whole lot of details here, but that kind of seems to be what it's going to be, is something along the lines of Star Tours or something like that. They also have the Stark Flight Lab. This is interesting in that they're bringing the RoboCoaster arms, and if you're not familiar with the RoboCoaster, it's actually what they use on Harry Potter's Forbidden Journey at Universal. And then they also used to have another ride in Innoventions of Walt Disney World that was a roller coaster simulator, and it was a robo coaster. It's this big robot arm, and the car that the people is in is on the end. And the whole arm can swing around. So it's going to start off with them on the ground, loading up, and then it's going to experience flight by picking them up and simulating flight as they move around on the end of this arm. And that is essentially going to be Tony Stark giving you the experience of flying in the Iron Man suit. So it's going to be very interesting. I love the roller coaster ride, but I do know some people that tend to get a little bit motion sick on it because of the way it moves. This is Disney, though, so they're going to want to keep it reasonably thrill-like, but not over too much, because they want to be able to have the little ones ride with the grandparents. I think it sounds really cool. They should be a couple of great attractions, both e-tickets. In fact, one thing you're going to notice on most of this is e-tickets. These will be cool. They're also bringing in the Avatar Experience. I have no idea where this is going to go, but it's a new attraction that takes riders through the wide open seas of Pandora. And again, interesting. I'm kind of like, all right, why? What does Pandora have to do with anything else in California Adventure other than trying to squeeze in another e-ticket? But it should be interesting. I don't know where the room's going to come from. This is what they're bringing in. There's a couple ideas. We'll see how this fits in. It should be quite interesting. It looks like it may be a neat ride. I just don't know where it goes. Oh, I forgot to mention, on the Avengers, construction is actually set to begin early next year. So they have construction plans already in place and timelines. They're also bringing Coco in, the very first Coco ride. And I will admit, I have not seen the Coco movie. It's going to be a boat ride, think Small World, Pirates of the Caribbean type thing, through the land of the dead with music and animatronics. Work is expected to begin in 2026, so this is at least a year and a half away from construction starting, let alone the full ride. So it's a ways out. You figure 2028 before it's going to open, which means there's a lot of design work to do still, and then planning, and then construction, and all of that. This is the pie in the sky one. Yeah, there's plans, but this may not necessarily happen. We'll see on this. Potentially a neat ride. If you like Coco, you'll probably enjoy it. If you're not a big Coco fan, you probably won't care about it at all. So I'm going to jump overseas real quick here, because there were a couple neat announcements for overseas parks. Disneyland Paris has a new nighttime spectacular coming in 2025. This is not a parade. Think fireworks, but not fireworks, although I'm sure fireworks will probably be part of it. But it includes projections on the castle, which they've done. But for Paris, it's also the first time they're doing projections on Main Street. So, kind of, if you're in the States, you're used to projections on Main Street at Disneyland and at Magic Kingdom. Paris hasn't had it yet. So, new for them, coming actually in January of 25. So, this is 5 months away. Interesting, they're going to start in the middle of winter when the crowds are lighter, but I guess it gives them a good chance to test things out. Disney Studios Paris, which is now Disney Adventure World, they also announced a brand new Lion King themed area. They've got a lot going on in this park. They're adding Avengers, they're adding Frozen, they're adding Star Wars, and now they've got Lion King coming in. Again, not a whole lot of detail I was able to pick up, but a nice addition. This park has gone from a half-day park when I was there to, by the time they're all done, this is going to be a full-day park. Honestly, I love the additions they're putting there, making it a great park, and definitely taking that whole Paris resort area and adding on how long you're going to want to be there. Over in Japan, they have a brand new nighttime parade starting September 20th. So a month away, the new nighttime parade is coming. Nighttime parades! Yay! These have been missing, and I'm going to come back to that. But that's all they announced for Japan, was just the new nighttime parade. There's a lot of other stuff going on in Japan, though. China just had a couple things. Shanghai, they have the brand new Spider-Man High Energy Thrill Coaster. What a name. But that is coming in Shanghai. And then Hong Kong has a new Spider-Man attraction as well, joining the Avengers. So Spider-Man's finally making his way into China with both parks there. Not a whole lot of details, but at the same time, welcome to China, Spider-Man. They've been looking for you. Coming back to the States, here's where it starts getting interesting. I'm going to hold off on Magic Kingdom in Hollywood Studios. Let me jump over first to Epcot. A lot of what's going on at Epcot, just two things, and a lot of it was really kind of already known. Test Track Reimagined is coming, whole redesign, supposedly kind of going back in some ways to the old, but also bringing in some elements of new. But it reopens next year, 2025. No dates, just a year. But I'm hoping that they fix it, because they took an awesome ride and they just genericked it to death. So hopefully that is coming back and much better. It can't be much worse. They've also got big excitement here. A new lounge coming inspired by Spaceship Earth. Yeah, we're excited. Hear the excitement. So it's basically a place to go get a drink and sit back for a little bit and maybe a light snack and lounge. It's a fancy bar. Okay? And it's inspired by Spaceship Earth. It'll probably use the place that's... there actually is an old lounge in Spaceship Earth that's not being used. And so that's probably what it's going to be. Used to be a sponsors lounge where people who's from Siemens used to be able to go there and hang out. So that's what I'm guessing, is they are reusing that. There's Epcot. Woo! Animal Kingdom, on the other hand, did actually have some big announcements. In particular, what's happening with the old dinosaur area. So it's all getting rethemed. Good. Needs it. That whole area stunk. And it is kind of building a little bit on the pie in the sky they threw out a couple years ago. The Tropical Americas is going to be the new name of the area. It's 11 acres, going to include 2 rides, one of which is essentially there and getting redone. Then you're going to enter through the brand new Pueblo Esperanza village, which actually for me sounds kind of neat. It's going to be rainforest area. You're going to have this nice little village that's going to be there that's going to include the largest hacienda, one of the largest quick service restaurants in Walt Disney World. That's actually one thing that Animal Kingdom can use, is another good quick service restaurant, because there's really only 2 that I eat at. One is the Flame Tree Barbecue, and then the other one's down in Avatar. Quick service restaurant. Great idea. Definitely needed. It's also going to include a giant carousel. The idea of the carousel actually sounds really neat, in that you've got a wood carver in this village that decided to make a carousel out of wood and just go crazy with it. I think this is going to be nice. Construction begins this fall, so here in just a couple months, and the plan is to open in 27, so you're looking at a 3-year construction period. Zootopia is coming to the Tree of Life Theater. We knew Bug's Life was going. It's really been showing its age. Zootopia is the announced replacement. This could be really cool. Zootopia can be a whole lot of fun, a lot friendlier. They are hoping for end of next year for this one. So it's already in process, in the works, and you're going to see construction walls going up and things happening there very soon. And then, jumping back, Tropical Americas has 2 big rides. One of them, Indiana Jones. They're taking the dinosaur ride, which is a retheme of Indiana Jones in Disneyland, and they're retheming dinosaur to Indiana Jones. So it's going from rethemed Indiana Jones to dinosaur to rethemed Indiana Jones. But it's not supposed to be the Indiana Jones in California. It's going to be a completely new story in a Maya temple. So you don't have to worry about don't look in the eye. So it should be interesting. I'm going to miss Dinosaur. There's a little time to go ride it. If you love it, go get that dino. You know, and as time runs out, I'm realizing I'm not going to be able to get back and get my re-ride. I'm not going to make it. The other ride that's going to be popping up here is going to be one themed on Encanto, and it's a ride through Casita, which, actually, this sounds really cool to me. It's continuing Antonio's story. Right after Antonio gets his door and all the animals come in and flood his room and he gets to talk to the animals, and it's going to be picking up right at that point. So you get to float through his room and see all of these animals and talk to the animals. Talk to the animals.
You've got to talk with the animals and listen to their sounds to see.
Wrong park, wrong play. Love that play. Katonga! Anyways. But you're going to be able to experience that. This, honestly, I think it's going to take this basically broken area of the park And as much as I miss Dinosaur, as much as I would have loved to see Beastly Kingdom, I think this is going to be a great addition to the park. I think it's going to be wonderful. So now we're going to jump over to a couple other things, including a couple things that I'm not sure I like. First off, Hollywood Studios. Galaxy's Edge is adding on a brand new mission, Smuggler's Run, featuring featuring Mando and Grogu. This is actually supposed to be added in 2026, so about a year and a half, 2 years away. But it's going to be finally time to see them do something on a ride in the park. And it sounds like they're going to kind of take Smuggler's Run and start doing some of the ideas that they've done with Star Tours and being able to add in different segments, different missions, and let you do some different things. Cool idea. Love that. I love Smuggler's Run, but that will make it a little bit more rewritable for some people. That should be fun to see. The other big thing that they're doing is something that people have dreamed about and talked about for a long time, going all the way back to California Adventure when they rethemed Superstar Limo, and that is the Monsters, Inc. land, actually a whole area, and they're going to bring in the ride through the factory door vault. And I remember seeing sketched out ideas for this 15 years ago. It's going to be the very first suspended coaster ever in a Disney park, so you're going to be riding on the rails that the doors are riding on, and essentially following through the doors. Awesome, awesome idea. Happy to see this finally happening. Work is supposed to begin next year. And here's where it gets controversial. The artwork that they put up, honestly, to me, it looked like the Animation Courtyard, which used to be where they had a Star Wars display, and before that, it was the animation studio, and they actually used it to make movies. In fact, there's offices behind it. The PhotoPass office was actually back there for a while. Yes, where I checked in every day was back in that area. So I know this area, but this would honestly be a great place that's sitting there empty and doing nothing. Move some offices. This would be a fantastic place to put this. It naturally would fit in and expand. They could do this. But what's getting thrown out there as a potential alternative is that it may end up over at the Streets of America where the Muppets are. Because you've got a city. It would look just like Monstropolis. It would be easy to retheme, and Muppets may be dated. Disney has not said where it's going. There was word that they actually had a picture that showed it over there, that they were going to show at D23, and they pulled it at the last minute. So where's it going? I don't know. I love Muppets. It's Jim Henson's last thing. I hate to think of Muppets leaving, but at the same time, that area has gradually declined, and Muppets does not get the crowds. Is this a way to possibly inspire people to go see the Muppets again and kind of reignite the interest? Maybe. Is it a way to get rid of it and put something in there that actually would draw people? Maybe. I don't want to see Muppets go. But at the same time, I hate to see an empty area of the park, like Animation Courtyard. I think Animation Courtyard's the better area. It would revitalize that whole area as well. But I don't know. This whole park, though, nobody seems to know what it is anymore. It's certainly not the studios that it used to be. Now it's like, hey, you know, honestly, they ought to rename it Disney IP Land that happens in Hollywood. Because this is all the stuff like, we don't know where to put this. Star Wars, Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Disney Junior, what? What is it? We don't know. It's just lots of stuff. It fits in there because everything fits in there because there is no cohesive theme anymore. But I hate to think of the Muppets leaving. Stay tuned on that one. There's lots of people already stirring up a ruckus about the removal of the Muppets. Hope not. Hope not. Then we come to Magic Kingdom, where Magic Kingdom had some big announcements. A couple of smaller ones. A brand new nighttime parade, long overdue. Why did it take so long? But called Disney Starlight, kicking off next year. It's being brought to life by the Blue Fairy. It features Peter Pan, Encanto, Frozen, and much more. I wonder if they'll bring in the Wishes soundtrack at all. Then you could have Jiminy Cricket going, look, it's the Blue Fairy. Okay, channeling my old cast member. Finally, we get a brand new nighttime parade. So long overdue. After bringing in Main Street Electric Light Parade a few times, and then Spectro Magic, which was, the creepy clown parade. But it was a cool parade, and it's been way too long. Way too long. They're also bringing in a brand new tavern themed to Pirates of the Caribbean that is also supposed to open next year. Yay, another bar. It's Magic Kingdom, guys. You don't need tavern bar there, really. It should look pretty cool. And of course, their lounges are supposed to be friendly for kids, so they can come in and theme to pirates. I love pirates. It should be cool. The big announcement, though, I've got a lot of mixed feelings about. And that is what they are doing with the Rivers of America, Cars Land. So this is going to kind of be at the center. Behind that, they actually announced a new Villains Land coming. This is the pie in the sky one. I'm not going to do a whole lot on Villains Land because they mentioned that when I was there, and there's no details except it's going to go out there. Behind Big Thunder and Haunted Mansion, somewhere out there. There's designs, but they gave no details. We'll see. Villains Land would be awfully cool. I'm not real expected on that. But the whole redo to Frontierland, basically. So what they're going to do there is they're bringing in a new off-road rally race around Radiator Springs, along with a kids' ride. To do this, they're removing Tom Sawyer Island, they're removing the Rivers of America, they're filling it in, they're putting in this giant rally ride, because in Frontierland in the 1800s in the Old West, you've got cars running around in the desert. What? Not quite sure how this is fitting in. The idea that they're basically changing Frontierland to Cars Land while still having Big Thunder sounds disjointed, and they're killing the Rivers of America. Okay, admittedly, Tom Sawyer Island is kind of a waste of space. Yes, Magic Kingdom needs capacity. Yes, it needs e-tickets. But I think that the park planners have also forgotten that it needs ambiance, that it needs atmosphere. And what this is going to do is it is going to kill one of the most atmospheric areas in the park. Walt was very big on having the Rivers of America. There's a reason why a version of it is at every Magic Kingdom park. And it's going bye-bye for cars in the middle of the Old West. This is probably going to be a really cool ride, but I'm not pleased with what they're doing here. So I am actually one of those weirdos that I have gone to Tom Sawyer Island. Yeah, I would have liked to have seen something else happen with Tom Sawyer Island. Keep the rivers there. Do something like what Disneyland Paris did with their Big Thunder. Put a ride on the island and have a way to get back and forth from the mainland. In this case, they went through a tunnel. You can't do a tunnel in Florida because the state's floating, and there's utilidors down there. But there's other things they could have done to incorporate the island, made it more useful and popular, and still kept the Rivers of America. And rather than do that, they're just going, no more boats, no more water. Like I said, I'm not real pleased on this one. It's dropping IP in just for the sake of getting IP in that doesn't really fit. And what do cars have to do with that area? Nothing, other than it's a desert. That's basically it. And they're going to ruin this whole area that Walt helped design. Yes, Walt was all for improving stuff, but it has to make sense. This doesn't make sense. This is adding IP in for the sake of adding IP in. Okay, here's a crazy thought. It would fit just as well. Why not just change the Indy Speedway to cars? Redo the track? Hey, it fits in thematically as good over there as it does the other. It's still cars. It still would, basically take that same idea and put cars on top of cars. Now, they're going to ruin a part of the park. Yeah, not keen on that one. It's going to be a cool ride, I'm sure. Going to be an amazing ride. But I don't like what they're doing with the park. My frustration here, they've got some amazing things here. But if you notice, every single thing I mentioned, every single one, It's basically already a licensed deal, and the whole goal of this is to bring the characters and stuff from the movies that people like, put them in the park so they can sell more stuff. Ultimately, rather than something original, it's just building on what they already have. I'm happy to see some things like the Monsters, Inc. suspended coaster finally coming after decades. But at the same time, where's the originality? Disney has really... They're swinging to just their licensed stuff and nothing beyond that. And then when you take things that are there and you're basically demolishing Walt's legacy to put in something that doesn't fit just because you got to get the licensed characters in. Yeah. Some of this I'm still waiting to see, whatever happens. Villains Land is something they've talked about for a long time. I'll be honest, I'm not real optimistic on that. We'll see. The Monsters, Inc. thing, we'll see where that ends up. The Avatar Land in California, we'll see. Things change, things get modified, things get dropped. I have a feeling at least a couple of those things are never going to see the light of day. At least not in the form they're talking about. Other things, I do hope they change a little bit, make some adjustments, and some other things I'm really excited about. So that's my rundown of what was announced at D23. What do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Would you like to see some of the stuff? Do you think some of it's horrible? I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, subscribe, and hey, if you want to know more and get a close-up, check out the details in the description about patrons and supporters. I couldn't do this without them. My patrons and my YouTube members are awesome. Love them. And we got stuff coming up where we're going to get to chat Zoom. If you want to know more about that, check the description. Thank you so incredibly much for watching. God bless. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Da 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 da. Da da da. Hold my hand. I don't feel like that's picking up the way I want it to. Let's try it here. Hello, hello. Who's that a calling? Hello, hello. Hold my hand. Okay, let's try that. Dun dun dun. Boom boom boom. Okay, that's better. All right. Hello, puppy. No, puppy. I'm trying to record. But they've got new attractions that takes the rides. Ooh, hoobie-dip. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. Be sure to share them in the comments below. Or you can contact me. There's information in the description that has my email address, fan pages, information about merchandise, and so much more. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and if you haven't already, hit the button right up there to subscribe. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, I've even got another video for you right here. And also about these wonderful people here, those are my YouTube members and my patrons, the ones whose financial support makes this possible. I couldn't do it without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that come with it, well, be sure to check the description. There's a link right down there. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless.